Bonjour, French 1 students. Here is your teaching video for Lesson 2B, pages 30 through 33 in your textbook. Again, please have your textbook out and in front of you. The pictures I have in the video are just to help you keep track that you're on the right page and such. So, Leçon 2B, video scène, une coïncidence. Isabel is at a party with her new Canadian friend Mark. She wants him to meet some of the other guests. Tu connais la fille là-bas? No. Qui est-ce? C'est une copine. Elle s'appelle Juliette Savard. Elle est française? No. Elle est canadienne. Elle est de Montréal. Moi aussi. Quelle coïncidence. So again, this is sort of introducing some of the new vocabulary that's going to be introduced in this lesson. Okay. So again, we see tu connais is do you know. So we have do you know the girl over there? No. Who is it? It's a friend. And again, we can tell that it's a female friend because we see that une. Her name is Juliette Savard. Is she French? No, she is Canadian. She is from Montreal. Me too. What a coincidence. So again, we have this vocabulary. And again, with these yellow boxes, you need to know the meaning and the spelling of all this new vocabulary. S'il vous plaît, répétez. Tu connais. Tu connais. Tu connais Jean-Paul? Okay, so that's how to ask about who someone is, to ask do you know. So how to describe people and give their nationalities. So remember, you already know how to talk about yourself. Back in lesson 1, you learned je suis for I am. So that's how you would talk about your nationality. And you also talked about je suis de. And then your city to talk about I am from. Okay? So now they're showing you or teaching you, you're learning here, not only how to talk about yourself, but how to talk about others. So we see il est for he is and elle is she is. So notice the a stays the same, the il or the elle is changing. Again, what you're going to see in French is that il means he, and elle means she. And there are going to be some subject pronouns that eventually, again, we will specifically talk about. So, s'il vous plaît, répétez. Il est canadien. Elle est canadienne. And again, notice, right, Canadian is an adjective. Notice that these adjectives are agreeing with the subject. So, il is male, so Canadian is the masculine form. Elle is feminine, so Canadian is that feminine form that has the extra N-E on it. All right, how to find out another person's name. So again, remember, you learned back in lesson 1 how to say my name is. Right, that was je m'appelle. And remember, we talked a little bit about the fact that this is kind of weird because literally in French, appelle is the verb for to call. So literally you are saying, I call myself, and then you're giving your name. So what we're going to see here is we still see that verb for to call. So this one is really asking, how do you call yourself? Or what do they call themselves? And then he calls himself and she calls herself. So this is Como s'appelle, and then il s'appelle and elle s'appelle. S'il vous plaît, répétez como s'appelle. Como s'appelle? Como s'appelle? Como s'appelle le garçon? Como s'appelle la fille? Il s'appelle. Il s'appelle. Il s'appelle Marc. Elle s'appelle. Elle s'appelle Juliette. So kind of working through the translation here, Tu connais Jean-Paul is asking, do you know Jean-Paul? He is Canadian. She is Canadian. What's the name of the boy? What's the name of the girl? His name is Mark. Her name is Juliette. So one more time working through this new vocabulary. S'il vous plaît, répétez. Tu connais. Il est. Elle est. Comment s'appelle? Il s'appelle. Elle s'appelle. So next you have a little note culturelle. And this again is about Quebec, which is part of Canada. So again, this first little map here is kind of showing you where in the world, right, Canada is, in case you're not sure, and then kind of showing you where Quebec is. En bref, capitale, Quebec, Quebec City. Population, 7,500,000. Langue, français, anglais. So this is telling you about, in brief, that the capital is Quebec, the population is 7,500,000 people, and the languages are French and English. La Province de Québec. The province of Quebec is located in the eastern part of Canada. French speakers represent about 75% of its population. Most of them are descendants of French settlers who came to Canada in the 17th and 18th centuries. There are also a large number of Haitian immigrants who are of African origin. Montreal, with a population of 2 million, is the largest city in the province of Quebec. In population, it is the second largest French-speaking city in the world after Paris. So remember back the first couple days of class, we talked about, the fact that sometimes students who take French get asked by someone, why are you taking French? Well, the second largest French-speaking city in the world is Montreal. Montreal, from where we live in Michigan, you can drive to Montreal in one day. It's a long drive, but you can drive there. So we're fairly close to the second largest French-speaking city in the world. So one thing about Quebec and the Québécois is that Quebec has tried several times to become an independent country from Canada. They haven't been successful, but part of that is the Québécois have a tendency to only want to speak French. So typically the road signs and everything in Quebec are only written in French. About this picture that you see here, Le Vieux Montréal, Place Jacques Cartier in the heart of Old Montreal. So that's what that picture is. The building in the background with the green roof is the Hotel de Ville. It is here that Charles de Gaulle made his famous proclamation, Vive le Québec libre. So Charles de Gaulle was also a French president and involved with World War II. He was one of the generals in the war. So that's a little bit about Quebec. The Petit Comité. Most French teenagers study English in school. They are generally very much interested in the United States. They love American music, American movies, and American fashions. So, realistically, the United States in this respect is unique. Most students in other countries around the world learn at least one, oftentimes two or three foreign languages. So languages that are not their own, right? Remember that for a student in France, English is a foreign language. Okay? And they typically study that language starting when they're very young. So most French teenagers, most French schools do require their students to learn English. And so typically many French teenagers do speak English. All right, we see the little cartoon. Bonjour, tu connais le monsieur? Oui, il s'appelle Oncle Sam, il est américain. So again, bonjour, remember we've learned this means hello. And tu connais, that's on our vocab in this lesson, that's do you know. So this is asking, do you know the man? And the other person is responding, yes. His name is Uncle Sam. He is American. So remember, this is grammar because this is one of those green boxes. So this is talking about le garçon, la fille. The French equivalent of the has two basic forms, le and la. So the masculine is le garçon, le copain. The feminine is la fille, la copine. So again, this comes from that idea that French verbs, or French nouns, are masculine or feminine. And so, as a result, their articles, which le and la are an example of, have to agree. So again, we see the feminine ones use la and the masculine ones use le. Look at the note. Both le and la become l'apostrophe before a vowel sound. So un copain, if I don't want to say so, un copain is saying a friend. Le copain is saying the friend. A friend, the friend. Now, because ami starts with a vowel, it's l'apostrophe, and it kind of all runs together, so that's pronounced l'ami. Une copine, a friend. La copine, the friend. Un ami, a friend. L'ami, the friend. And again, because ami starts with a vowel, it's the l'apostrophe. Again, here, notice I can tell that I'm talking about a girl because, again, I have that ami ending in an E, which tells me that it's feminine. So, again, kind of a little bit of notes on nouns in French. Again, we have talked now several times about the fact that all French nouns are either masculine or feminine. And so the other day you learned what were called the indefinite articles. The indefinite articles mean a or an. And the masculine one was en. And the feminine one was un. Today, you're being introduced to what are called the definite articles. The definite articles translate as the. Again, the masculine definite article is le. The feminine is la. And for both le and la, they become l'apostrophe before a vowel or a silent H. So, just like in English, we don't ever say, give me the paper. We don't do that in French either. In French, you only use one or the other. So by that I mean, if I want to say a boy, I'm going to say un garçon. If I want to say the boy, I'm going to say le garçon. I'm never going to use both and le with garçon at the same time, because that would be like saying the. So we're never going to do un le garçon. Okay, so never, never do that. Okay, you don't use both articles. You use either the indefinite articles that mean a or an, or the definite articles that mean the. So remember, the other day you learned some new vocabulary related to people. And again, we know that these are the masculine nouns, and these are our feminine nouns. So, literally, all of these here translate as a boy, a male friend, a gentleman, a teacher. And over here, for the girls, it's a girl, a female friend, a lady, a teacher. If instead I want to say the, then I have to replace the with le if I want to say the. So if I want to say the boy, it's going to be le garçon, l'ami, le copain, le monsieur, le prof. If I want to say the with a feminine noun, I'm going to replace the oud with la to say the. So if I want to say the girl, it's la fille, l'ami, la copine, la dame, la prof. So again, we have to kind of make that choice. Do you want to say a or an? In which case you're going to either use for the masculine or oud with the noun for if it's feminine. If I want to say the, then I'm going to use the definite articles, and the masculine definite article is le, and the feminine one is la. Again, I have to be careful, right? And the ones I'm going to have to be careful with are un-ami and un-ami, because those are my ones that start with a vowel, so they're going to be the L apostrophe in front of ami when I say the friend instead of a friend. So, s'il vous plaît, répétez un, une, le, la. Notice all four of them sound different. So when you're speaking in class, I should be able to tell which one you're using because they all sound different. So let's take a look at exercise 1 in your textbook. This is on page 32. It's key S. Ask who the following people are using le, la, or l'apostrophe. So notice our example here, right? We're given oud prof. Because it's oud, remember ouds are going to become la. Remember ans are going to become le. And remember, with both of these, I have to be careful. It's going to be L apostrophe before a vowel or a silent H. Okay? So, because our prompt is un prof, our answer becomes qui est la prof. So, all of your answers are going to start with qui est. And then you're either going to have la or le, and then the word that they give you. So, go ahead and try number 1 on monsieur. Qui est le monsieur? Numéro 2, une dame. Qui est la dame? Numéro 3, une fille. Qui est la fille? Numéro 4, un garçon. Qui est le garçon? Numéro 5, un prof. Qui est le prof? Numéro 6, un ami. Qui est l'ami? So again, that one's going to be L apostrophe A-M-I, and you pronounce it l'ami because it starts with a vowel. Numéro 7, un ami. Qui est l'ami? Sounds the same. If you were writing it out, it would be spelled a little differently because it would have to end in the E to make it feminine. But it sounds the same. And numéro 8, une copine. Qui est la copine? All right, we're also going to do exercise 2 together. Tu connais. Ask your classmates if they know the following people. They will answer that they do. So notice here is our prompt right here. That's what they give us. So notice the first thing we're going to say is tu connais la dame. So notice we're using that part here, but the un is becoming a la. When will I use le? Right. If I have a R. Notice the second part becomes the second part of this response. We say Madame Valet. So the parts that are staying the same every time are the tu connais and the we say. The parts that are changing are la dame and Madame Valet, depending upon what you see down here. So, s'il vous plaît, répétez tu connais, we say. So, again, I'd like you to try these. Numéro 1, we have un prof and Monsieur Simone. So it becomes tu connais le prof, we say Monsieur Simone. 2, un garçon et Christophe. Tu connais le garçon, we say Christophe. 3, une fille and Charlotte. Tu connais la fille, we say Charlotte. 4, une dame, Mademoiselle Lenoir. Tu connais la dame? We say Mademoiselle Lenoir. Numéro 5, un prof, Madame Boucher. Tu connais la prof? We say Madame Boucher. Numéro 6, un monsieur, Monsieur Duval. Tu connais le monsieur? We say Monsieur Duval. We're also going to do exercise 3 from your textbook, Comment s'appelle? Ask the names of the following people using the words le garçon, la fille. A classmate will respond. Well, you're going to kind of have to have split personalities because you're going to say both here. Okay? So again, notice our prompt. Right? We see the picture of a girl and Stephanie. So because she's a girl, I know I'm going to use la fille. Our other choice is le garçon. So we have comment s'appelle la fille. Elle s'appelle Stephanie. So I'll do number 1 for you, for Mark. So again, because Mark's a boy, instead of la fille, it's going to be le garçon. And instead of elle, it's going to be il. So number 1 is, comment s'appelle le garçon? Il s'appelle Marc. So try numéro 2. Comment s'appelle la fille? Elle s'appelle Céline. Numéro 3, François. Comment s'appelle le garçon? Il s'appelle François. 4. Jean-Paul. Comment s'appelle le garçon? Il s'appelle Jean-Paul. Numéro 5, Nathalie. Comment s'appelle la fille? Elle s'appelle Nathalie. Numéro 6, Trine. Comment s'appelle le garçon? Il s'appelle Trine. Et numéro 7, Isabelle. Comment s'appelle la fille? Elle s'appelle Isabelle. So next we come to les nombres de 80 à 1000. Okay, so numbers from 80 to 1,000. Again, before we do that, we're going to review 0 to 79. Instead of repeating after me, you're going to say them with me. Remember our patterns, right? For the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, and then we're also going to see it's going to be true for the 80s. We're going to use that special word for the 10, and then 1 through 9, the numbers 1 through 9. For the 70s and the 90s, we're going to use that special tens word, which is 60 or 80, and then 10 through 19. So first we're going to start. I want you to say these with me, so ensemble. So you're not repeating after me. You're going to say them with me. We're going to count from 0 to 79. So here we go. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79. So here what we see then are 80 to 100 and then the number for 1,000. So You kind of see a note down here to take a look at first. It says, note that in counting from 80 to 99, the French add numbers to the base of 80. Quatre means 4, 20 means 20. So it's 4 20s, which is 80. This is the old word for score. If you have learned about President Abraham Lincoln and the Gettysburg Address, right? The start of his address is 7 years ago, our forefathers brought forth onto this continent a new nation. 4 meaning 80 years ago, okay? So it's the same in French and in English. So, s'il vous plaît, répétez 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, salt, 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 meal, meal, meal. Now notice one thing here. There's an S on 80 when there's not a number after it, but notice as soon as there's a number after it, the S is gone. So we only have the S on 80. The rest of the numbers don't have an S on them. If we want to count beyond 100, if we want to say 200, it would be 200. Okay, so these are your numbers. And remember, we have 100 cents, which looks a whole lot like the word salt, okay, in English. Again, referring to the fact that there's 100. So again, that's one of those words that probably has some origin back in French. So, again, best way to get good at this is to practice. You certainly could kind of replay and practice multiple times these numbers. We're going to look at exercise 5, au téléphone. In France, the telephone area code, ligne d'actif, is always a 4-digit number. Your teacher will name a city, une ville, from the chart. Give the area code. So, the first one here asks about Nice, which is down here. Okay. So, it's 0493. So, c'est le 04 93. So, the c'est le stays the same every time. So, we're just going to go, okay, from top to bottom. So, first we're going to go ahead and do Albi. C'est le 0563. Avignon. C'est le 04 90. Dijon. C'est le 03 80. Marseille. C'est le 04 91. Montpellier. C'est le 04 67. Nancy. C'est le 03 83. Nîmes. C'est le 04 66. Rennes. C'est le 02 99. Saint-Tropez. C'est le 04 94. Strasbourg. C'est le 03 88. Vichy. C'est le 04 70. And Dijon, that is indeed where Dijon mustard originated. So the pronunciation, la voyelle nasale. In French, there are 3 nasal vowel sounds. 5, 11, 30. Practice the sound in the following words. Be sure not to pronounce an N or M after the nasal vowel. So, you're going to actually take your fingers and put them on the hard part of your nose. And if you're saying these words correctly, you should feel the vibration of your nose as you say these, because these are nasal sounds and there should be air rushing through your nose if you're saying them correctly. So right now, you should have your fingers on your nose, on the hard part of your nose. S'il vous plaît, répétez 5, 15, 20, 25, 95. Américain, Alain, copain, bien, Canadien, tien, un, tien, voilà Alain, il est américain, et Julien, il est canadien. So you should have been able to feel your nose vibrating if you were saying those correctly. So your homework is homework number 6, page 32, exercise 1 and 3. So again, these are both exercises actually that we already did out loud. Okay, so you're going to write out on your paper like the red example in your book. So for exercise 1, all of your answers are going to start key A. And again, remember, if it's an you're going to change it to a le. If it's an oud, you're going to change it to a la. So you're changing it from a or an to the. And remember, le and la become L apostrophe before a vowel. Oops. So you're going to write out those 8 for exercise 1. For exercise 3, we also did this one out loud. Again, you're going to write out or type out this part. So remember, the la, fi, and the L were the part that changed depending upon whether it was a boy or a girl. If it was a boy, it should be le garçon. If it's a girl, it should be la fille. If you use le garçon, then your next sentence should start with il. And if it's la fille, your next sentence should start with L. So you're going to write out those 2 lines for the 7 of them. Au revoir. À demain.